Welcome to the Iconics Genesis 64 video guide. This video discusses how to use global aliases and definitions of other aliases, as well as advanced features that allow for benefiting from combinations of global aliases.
In other chapters of Iconics video guide, we have explained to you how to use local aliases as well as global aliases. Today, we will combine them so as we can use the power and the advantage of each of them. Now I have a screen with 3 tanks. If I click on one of the tanks, I will pop up a window which will show me some details and control board of the tank. I am using one pop-up window which can be used and contextualized with local aliases, so as I can use only one pop-up instead of each for every tank. If you remember, we cannot use local aliases in controls like Aliasing or GraphWorX viewer. So we have to use global aliases. And therefore we are going to enhance this display so as it opens a pop-up which will show me the control board as well as Aliasing viewer and GraphWorX viewer. The control board will still be connected to local aliases, whereas my viewers will be using global aliases. Actually, what I need from this display is to send global aliases as well as local aliases on one click. You certainly remember that in order to open a pop-up window, we use the pick action load display. We used it with a combination of local aliases, and now I will add also the global aliases into it. We described how to add the global aliases in one of previous chapters. Now I'm going to use the alias tanks, and as a value for this tanks global alias, I will use the local alias tanks specified for this object. I will set it on the current document level so as it affects only the opened pop-up. Good. And also I will add the tank ID global alias. Okay. It's very important that my local aliases are resolved in the global alias command. To make sure that they are resolved, you have to change the string into a data source. That will be done by surrounding it with double curly brackets. And also need to make sure that this data source is in the end resolved as a string. Therefore, I will use the double inverted commas. This has to be done on both sides, of course. Alright, this is now ready. I will also modify the name of the display because the pop-up will be called tank details. And now I will copy this newly created dynamic, copy to other objects. I'll first delete the existing pick action, then paste dynamics and paste dynamics. Last step is to define my local aliases. So I will define tanks local alias. I will define the tank ID. This will be repeated for all the other objects. Tank 3. Okay, now I can go into runtime, and if I click the first tank, I will open a pop window with all my details about the tank 1, using the local aliases as well as the global aliases. And if I click the tank 2, it will show me the details for the tank 2. Global aliases for the GraphWorX viewer and Aliasing viewer, local aliases for descriptions and data sources. You have seen how powerful could be the combination of local aliases and global aliases, but you may wonder how the pop-up display is set up. We have covered these topics in previous chapters, but it might be a good idea to review it right now. So this is the pop-up screen, and you can see, as for the description, that we have used the local alias. Also, for the data sources, we have used local aliases inside them. As for the definition of local aliases, we used as the alias value the definition of the alias itself. That means that this object expects that the alias value will be resolved based on a different object. In our case, this object is the main display, which sends the alias values thanks and thank ID. As for the global aliases in TrendVoxViewer and AliaVoxViewer, you can see that in the pen description we just replaced part of the data source with our global alias as well as in the description. In case of AliaVoxViewer, we have used filter and client-side filter, which uses the thank ID. That's it. That's the magic of global aliases in combination with local aliases.